What is happening, everybody, man? Thank you guys jumping into another episode of the Agent to CEO podcast. And I'm excited to jump in with this character today, and been wanting to have this conversation for a while, and have always really looked up to this guy and helped me kind of navigate terrains and set standards. And so I'm really excited to have my uncle Jeff in with us today.
Hello, everybody.
What's happening?
Business, business, and business.
Always business. It's always been
business.
Always been business. Always showing up for business. I think that was one of the things, early on. Definitely learned, from you is sweat the small stuff. The details matter. Really, look good, feel good, show up good, perform good, just everything to a whole nother level and excellence, a standard. And, really when I start to think of those things, I always default, back to you and obviously a lot of good times and fun memories, but, instilling certain principles and disciplines. I mean, that was really one of the biggest takeaways, growing up, learning from you was really, sweat the small stuff, because it really matters.
It always matters, because I hear a lot of people always saying, well, don't sweat the small stuff. But then I look at their life and their business and it's in chaos. Yeah. It's when you sweat the small stuff that you keep your standards in place, your goals in place, and your goals are not movable. You set a goal, you obtain the goal. You never move that goal, so it's easier to achieve. So that's what I've always lived by. You set your goals, you live those goals, and you achieve those goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us some context, right? Because you've always been kind of on the financial aspect side of things, and then into the, real estate side of things for quite some time now. But just give a little bit of background and context, that's kind of led us up to this point.
My first real true job, I would say I was excited about. I got to work in retail, and how it's not what you know, it's who you know, as we always know. Building those three things. It's about timing, relationships, and follow up. And I met some people there in our hometown in Oklahoma, and I started working at, basically it was a Ralph Lauren clothing store. I mean, that was probably 75% of the clothing that we had in that store was Ralph Lauren for a little, 100,000 people town. So that was a pretty big deal. And I learned the business from there about how to provide customer service, how to sell concierge services. We would sell something, we would have to wrap it. I went to another level and delivered it. Because, who wants to wait around for stuff to be wrapped while you got other things to do? And this would be at 9 or 10 o'clock at night whenever I got off my shift. So from there, I went into consumer small finance. From there, I went into mortgage. From there, the mortgage shut down in 08, 07, hit pretty hard. I went into IT sales, ran a call center for Juniper Networks here in Colorado. Managed a team, had $100 million sales goal to hit. We beat it at 110. From there, I got into REO, back into the real estate side of that. Got into auction, helped create an auction platform, and then from there got into real estate. I got tired of being laid off because you got REO, foreclosures go down, you don't have a job. Mm-hmm. So move on into real estate. Real estate never sleeps, it never dies. And so does customer service. It never sleeps, it never dies.
Back to kind of the Surrey Shop days. You guys had a lot of fun, but to your point, you really lived, that true unreasonable hospitality, right? You look at, kind of understanding that book and that concept, and reminds me a lot of what you guys did is, if anybody's ever read Hug Your Customer with Jack Mitchell, that had the largest, square foot, retail shop, just outside of New York City and in Connecticut. And there's a lot of things that, like, what they talk, what Jack talks about in the book is what you guys were doing at the Surrey shop, and you just took it to a whole nother level. And before unreasonable hospitality was even a thing, I mean, that's what you guys were doing.
Well, you had to, we did have competition back then, and you had to differentiate yourself from that competition. Again, providing that service, going beyond what they were asking for. We got to know our clients so well that if I saw a certain outfit come in on the women's side that I knew that this guy would love for his wife, I would call him, tell him that it just came in. I've got her size. Do you want me to wrap that up for you? Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I'll drop it by the office this evening. Are you going to be there? Great. If not, I'll leave it with your receptionist. That type of service, birthdays, anniversaries, all those little things to make people feel special, but they remember you for that. It goes over into real estate too. If you're staying connected to your clients and you're in their face in the right way, they're going to remember you when it's time to sell that house, or they have, which I think is a great compliment to yourself, as a referral. You got a referral now from somebody that knows you, likes you, and trusts you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have
100%.
And it is that standard. You have to live it. If you don't live it, you're going to forget about it and you're going to miss.
Yeah, 100%. And it really, you develop those customers and clients for life. And it's a lot of the lifetime value concept. And one of the things, early on for us is latching on into that belief, and you're thinking about the experience, and especially now, and I know we'll get into kind of the AI conversation, but leveraging AI, but being able to, truly bring back and live that unreasonable hospitality type of business and structure, to me is the direction of the future. And it's something you've been doing for 30 plus years. And it's really cool to be able to see that. When you look at kind of the navigation that you took, and the experience and kind of little niche and nuances within, the mortgage and retail and real estate side of things, kind of what has been kind of the common thread that you've kind of seen navigating through, all of kind of your career?
My career, somebody told me early on in my career that if you take care of your clients, they will take care of you. If you're looking to take care of you, you're not taking care of your clients. It's old, it's cliche, but it's true. So I always try to keep what I'm doing, my client base first. If I do that, they're going to take care of me. And I always chase the opportunity, not the dollar, because with the opportunity, the dollars will come. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's always what my standard is. Now, I've been slapped down so many times just because of the different markets, things like that. I've had to pull myself up and dust myself off, and reinvent myself several times. But that's made me who I am today. And I've learned far more from failure than I ever have from success.
How do you navigate through that failure? Because I mean, there's a lot of, small business getting disrupted, a lot of, mid-level people getting displaced. You got a lot of real estate agents that aren't willing to raise to the standard, that are going to be looking for something else to do. And a lot of people don't know how to navigate the losses. So for you, being kind of hardened and, shaped by those losses, what's kind of the framework and the mentality that you take, with those losses to be able to move forward and grow from it?
Well, you go back and you review what you've done, because that book is written. I mean, it's basically out of publication, because you can't go back and fix anything you've done in the past. All you can do is live today and work to make sure you don't make those same mistakes again. Things happen to good people. Things happen to bad people. It just happens. And my faith, number one, keeps me grounded. Number two, leveraging my relationships that I've had. It's always been the right timing, and I've always followed up. The right people in my life, I keep them close, because you've heard this well before. If you run around with a bunch of jackasses, you're going to be a jackass.
You're the next one. You're one of them.
But if you run around with a bunch of good people and or millionaires or whoever you want to be or what you want to be, you're going to become one of those. So associate yourself with the right people. So build those relationships through time. and follow up with them. Don't let them fall out of your your hemisphere, whatever. Your sphere of influence. Never let them drop out. Always stay in touch. I don't care if it's once a year, once every 6 months, once a week, whatever. Keep them close because you can learn from them. I don't, in my career too, I've always tried to hire people smarter than me so that I can learn from them because I don't have all the answers and I don't pretend to. I want to hire people that are smarter than me. Number one, that's going to help me get promoted, get me where I want to go, then also give them a career path to take my place. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've learned. And also when I hire people, I also have my team that I trust and love and cherish. I have them do the interview as well as a group because that helps them, their career path, but it also, they may know something I don't know. They worked with this person before and they're just a bucket of crap. There is no way I would ever want to have them on this team. So it's the little things like that that you have to take nuggets from your failures and employ it into your success.
Yeah, I love that. And, kind of navigating to where you're at now, and you spent a lot of time on the recruiting side of things, really kind of setting the seat that you did at KW now with Anywhere, like kind of talk through some of the keys and the foundations when it comes to attracting, when it comes to recruiting, building the teams, building organizations, surrounding yourself with talent. Like what's kind of that process that you navigate through to really be able to pull the best of the people to come align with you?
Well, again, you got to show value. Like when I was recruiting agents specifically, I mean, any business owner, any team leader, whatever, knows that his team is constantly being recruited. So you have to internally recruit constantly. You have to bring value to them. Otherwise, they're going to find value somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And that may be that agent that just loves the shiny new little thing, squirrel moment that will always hop. And you can look at their history. Every 2 years, they move somewhere else. If that's the person, then that's the person. You're not going to be able to change that type of how they do their business. Now, the ones that you want to keep, that you've cultivated over time, you're providing them value day over day, month over month, year over year. They don't want to leave. They're your best recruiters right there because they're the ones out there. You need to come work with us because this is, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, what we're doing. And that's the best compliment as well, that you're training well, you're coaching well, you're providing value. They don't want to leave. So that's what I've always tried to instill into the agents I've recruited. I think I did 146 agents in 2018 that I recruited. And they were a blend of new and old, not old, but seasoned. And it's just, it's what are you doing to bring them in? What do they need? What are you trying to help them achieve? Finding out what their goals, helping them obtain their goals. Mm-hmm. And now with what I'm doing is on the franchise side and merger acquisition, I try to keep it simple. It's easy because I'm talking to not agents, but I'm talking to business owners. So you don't want your time wasted. You get phone calls all damn day. You want to be to the point, concise with your questions, with your recruiting, with your talk tracks. And I tell them, I'm not here to waste your time. This is what I have. Would you entertain a call, 30 minutes or less? If they are, great. If they don't, then follow up with them in a year, 6 months, whatever it is. And eventually the timing will be right. I've built a relationship and I'm following up with them.
Yeah. I love that framework. We'll come back to that. I wanted to, get your 2 cents on a few things that you said there. You talked about the hoppers, right? The agents that kind of bounce around shiny object to shiny object. Yep. Do you just avoid those people altogether, or do you know that, hey, their track record is 2 years? Man, I know they're going to be gone in 2 years, but I'm going to get the most out of them that I can in those 2 years. What's kind of your take on hoppers?
Yeah, but you got to also, are they going to be a troublemaker in the office? Are they going to be a poison apple and poison your team? you really have to do your due diligence, and also ask your top people in your office. If I'm thinking about bringing somebody on, I need your input. You may have done a transaction with them at some point. And if they're your top people, yeah, they may be a little bit afraid about the competition in the office, blah, 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 competing for those listings, those buyers, whatever. But if they're your top people, they're not afraid of competition. They want to see different names at the top of that leaderboard to help push them up higher on that leaderboard as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you do have to do your due diligence on them. Do you want them in your office? Are you going to be able to get as much out of them? And are you going to bring enough value to them to keep them? But more than likely not. They're gonna go somewhere else, because that's who they are. They may have like I do, the ADHD, and they're looking for that dopamine rush and whatever else they need to help them go. But that's just who they are. There's nothing wrong with that. But just pick and choose who you're bringing into your office, into your life. Well, I had a couple of agents at one time that were pretty good producers, but they were just a pain in the butt. Nothing was ever right, whatever, and started affecting the office as a whole. And I asked them, can I help you out to your car with your stuff? Because I think you need to go somewhere else. We're just not the right fit for you.
Yeah.
And, it hurt, but at the end of the day, it helped them. I think they went off and they did whatever else, and it helped us. So letting somebody go is not a bad thing. You're actually helping them, because them just sitting there and being unhappy is not a good thing for you or them. So help them change their course of their life. They may hate your guts for a while, but after time, you'll see them and they'll thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're so spot on with that. And I always have to, remember and remind others that if you're unhappy with them, and in most of the time it's either we didn't nail the right agreement, or if we did and they're still, it's not working, and we can distill it. Maybe there's a core value misalignment, but we're miserable with them. What I found is that they're just as miserable being there, and they just don't have a better option as of yet. However, if you kick them out of the tree, they're going to go find an option. They're going to go find something. So
it's a good thing for them. And, with the one thing I've learned too is that, you have your opinion, but with new information, you have the opportunity to have a new opinion. So you get to then make new changes, new challenges, whatever, with that opinion. You go out there and tackle it. You're not married to that opinion for the rest of your life. If you go out there and invest $10 million into something, and you find out after the first quarter that it's an abject failure, do you keep on pumping money into that? Or do you make a change?
Make a change.
Most people are going to say, oh my God, I've got $10 million popped into this. I got to keep that thing. No, cut it loose. Cut your losses and move on. Because all it's going to do is cause you more pain, consternation, may disrupt your home life. It may disrupt a lot more things than just that $10 million that you can earn back somewhere else.
Yeah. It's such great advice. The other thing that I want to get into, and maybe before we move out of the residential real estate side of things, attracting agents, because a lot of, at least the teams and the business sides that I get to work with and clientele that I get to work with, they have to increase headcount to be able to throttle off of them, in the trenches with buyers and sellers every day, right? They've got to increase that headcount. And one of your foundational things is always timing. So when you in the past have been talking to agents, talking to team leads, trying to get, help them, put headcount onto their organization, how important kind of the frame that you look through with timing that they need to be thinking about, right? From a timing perspective, is it right? Do I need to triple my headcount? Do I just need to double it? Do I just need to get one or two extra bodies in here? When you're looking through growth from a timing perspective, what are some of the things that you have to be thinking about when it comes to timing?
Well, it's all about what are you trying to achieve with your goals. If you don't hit your goals, how's that going to affect your family? How's that going to affect your business? How's that going to affect your retirement? How's that going to affect your exit strategy out of the business? Because do you want to be selling real estate when you're 81 years old. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe that's your life, whatever. Maybe your kids are going to come in, or maybe your kids are going to remember that you missed all those soccer games and football games because you were out there selling that, and they don't want any part of your business because they don't want to live that life.
Right.
So it's all about having a plan. How many agents do you need to bring on, but how many agents do you need to retain? Because if you got just as many agents going out the back door as you got coming in the front door, you're not getting anywhere, because again, you're having to retrain them. You're having to do all those things to get them up to speed for them to be successful, or they're going to be just like the other ones right out the back door as well. And remember, you've got people constantly calling them to come, and they don't care. They just want a body. They just want to throw bodies in the seat. I want productive agents. I want agents that are going to learn, and I want them to live a big life. So you have to just, how many agents do I need, or how many do I also need to retain to hit all these goals and keep them successful, happy in their seats as well? Because I want them attracting talent just as much as I want to be attracting talent.
You talked about, coming in the front door and going right out the back door. What closes the back door to where those top producers never want to leave? What are some of the things that you see?
Yeah, I think it's engaging them. You get your top producer and they're just cruising along. You never talk to them. You got to be complimenting them, in my mind, on, you just got a new listing. That's fantastic. Congratulations. You just had a new closing. Celebrate all those small little wins. That doesn't seem, and they'll tell you they don't like it. They love it. They love to have that ego stroked. And if they don't get that ego stroked, they're going to start looking around and they're going to act like you don't care about them. So they're going to go somewhere else that will, because they're getting calls from different companies, different team leaders, different owners. Hey, I just saw you took a new listing. Congratulations. That's awesome. Well, why didn't my broker call me and congratulate me on that?
Yeah.
It's the little things that can make that. And again, that's where I think that a lot of owners, and I get it, they have to be out there, selling as well, or they have their team selling, but then you're also competing with your own agents. So you got to balance that the right way, so they don't feel like that you're always competing with them for the same clients. Does that make sense? Yeah.
A lot of agents, right? You see agents that want to be on a team. It's, the team lead, entrepreneur, true entrepreneur, team lead, visionary. They're a little bit different, right? There's probably, when you look through kind of the Working Genius, have you gone through the Working Genius, all of Patrick Lencioni's?
I have not.
Yeah. So I've really fallen in love with it over the last year and a half.
Does he have a lot of pictures in that book?
It's a real short read. Big words and a lot of pictures.
There you go.
And so he really simplified it down, right? You've gone through career casting, you've gone through, all the stuff, Briggs. Obviously most real estate agents are all familiar with the DISC. You've got, all the other ones out there, but I really like the Working Genius because it's super simple. It breaks it down into widget and, WIDGET and think about, 30,000 foot all the way landing the airplane. But team leads are wired a little bit different, but a lot of real estate agents are kind of galvanizing to where they can get people to take action, get people excited to move through and do things. There's some tenacity in there, meaning that they can just get things done. But a lot of them are kind of in that E category, which is kind of means enablement, but really it's a team player. And to your point is that everybody craves, and then there's ways to crush people with the E's, and the E's are on the ground. They get things done, right? They're a full team player. Like, you would never hear an E say, that's not my job. They'll be like, cool, got it. All right, I'm on it. But what they crave is appreciation, to your point. And they get crushed if they're overlooked. So just the simple fact of what you just said is like, give them a public shout out. Yeah, will go so far.
Yeah, when you have your, if you're having a week, not a weekly, I think, personally, I always thought weekly team meetings were a bit excessive, but whatever works. Bi-weekly is great. Celebrate the wins. Celebrate them there in front of the whole office. I mean, when I was doing the office here, we maybe had 25 people showing up. I mean, it was just sparse, but by the end, it was, 75 to 100 people showing up at times. And we were trying to instill that you need to give, when they come to a team meeting, what are they getting out of it? Is it a rah-rah session? Yes, that should be part of it. But are they able to take at least one or two nuggets out of that team meeting and employ it into their business and help them grow their business some way, somehow? And that's why you're always bringing in, a guest speaker, you're bringing in a vendor, but you're keeping them very short and sweet. You want to get in all the things you want in that hour because you want to keep it to an hour or less. You don't want to go over because they got things to do. People think they get their phones out. They're starting to get bored. You lose them. So give them those nuggets so that they can take that. Also, when you're recruiting teams, go out there. Are you talking to the right person? Are you talking to the decision maker? I know one person that impacted my career a lot is that he had been talking to a team for at least 3 years, trying to get them to come over. And finally, he was in the office one day talking to them. And come to find out, he'd been talking to the wrong person for 3 years. It wasn't the husband, it was the wife.
Yeah.
He got in front of her. They signed the next day.
Yeah.
And she said, "Why haven't we been doing this the whole time?"
Yeah.
I mean, just chewed him out in front of this guy. And it taught him always determine who is the decision maker within that team. Because you may be thinking you're talking to him, you may not be talking to the right person. And you've been wasting all this time. So cut through the BS and find out who's making decisions.
That's so good. That's so good. And that goes back into your, kind of that other piece of the framework is really getting into the relationship and knowing, who's ultimately calling the shots here, right?
Ask the right questions. And it takes time to learn that. And it takes time for your talk track to do that. But, if you can take all the nonsense out of your head and be able to learn how to read people, the tonality, all those little things, and I can walk into a room anymore and I can tell you who's pissed off, who's having a great day. And these are people that I know because I know their character. I watch them. And you probably won't believe this, but I've learned how to keep my mouth shut. And I listen. And I watch people. And if you can learn to do that as a team leader, a business owner, whatever, you can tell when somebody's off. And then you can start working into why they're off. Then you can maybe find out why they're thinking about leaving your organization.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of that was that skill was harnessed in the retail days and the service shop days, just watching people come in and being able to see?
Yeah, absolutely. You can start learning your clients that way because you are face to face when you're in the retail. Now we're so much over the internet, whatever. But when you can even see them, and if you can get them on a webcast like we're doing, or FaceTime, whatever, you can read their face, you can read their eyes, you can read how they hold their chin, whatever, and their inflections in their voice. My team, I could go up and walk up to one of the young ladies that work for me. I said, "What's wrong?" "What do you mean, what's wrong?" I said, "You're acting out of character today. What's up?" "Got issues at home." I said, "Well, enough said. I can't help you with that unless you need somebody to vent to. But otherwise, let me know if you need anything. I'm just making sure it's not here." Yeah. So those little things.
Yeah, that's so good. Do you, is that something that is there training for that? Is there certain things that you guys talk through with that? Being able to recognize body language, tonality.
I mean, you can get YouTube certified on anything, but again, it's just knowing the people that you know. I mean, you can start with your wife. When she's in a foul mood. Mm-hmm. You can know when your kids are not acting right. Maybe they've been bullied at school or whatever. They come home not acting right. It's just learning how to pick up on the little things. If you just shut down your mind and watch people, you can learn that. Go to the mall, sit in the mall and watch people walk by. You can see the fist fights getting ready to break out between boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that, for you, is that something that you guys talk about? Is it with your team? Are you talking about, being able to pick up on the little nuances, being able to,
No, because
navigate those
we
things?
share. You have to share everything within a team. You can't keep your cards close to the vest, because for a team to be successful, you have to share everything, in my mind. And you help each other. Because if you're helping each other, I may pick up something from somebody else who picked up something from somebody else that shares it. And I'm going, holy crap, why didn't I pick that up? Why didn't I
Yeah.
recognize that?
Yeah. Obviously being able to talk about that and discuss it. I think one of the things that and I'm just speaking from personal experience, just the hesitation of having that conversation. So like for you, like, how do you bridge that conversation? I mean, I don't know if it comes just easy and natural for you to just interject into the conversation. Is it because you're approaching it with the right intent? But how do you bridge or walk into those kind of difficult conversations?
You just ask. I mean, they'll shut you down if they don't want to talk, but maybe they are craving to have somebody to talk to, a third party they don't, they wouldn't share this with anybody else. And they've got somebody that's interested but disinterested, if that makes sense, that
Mhm.
is not going to judge them and never come from a place of judgment. It's just, how can I make your life easier, simpler? What can I do to help you? And it coming from a place of contribution, I guess you could say, is the right way to do it. You always you want to be helped. And I think that comes from the customer service that I have built in me. Nothing infuriates me more than walking into a restaurant and or a bar and not being acknowledged within 5 minutes of me
Yeah.
sitting in there. Same way in retail, you walk in, you want to be greeted, you want to be acknowledged.
Mhm.
No, you cannot help me. I don't need any help right now, but I'll let you know if I do. But at least you've been acknowledged. That's the whole thing. People want acknowledgement. Even though they say they don't, they do.
Yeah, that's so good. And it's like you said, everybody's pulling at everybody. If you have remotely any talent within your organization, you can guarantee that people are at them trying to recruit them. And so, that if they're not feeling appreciated with where you're at, acknowledged with where you're at, somebody else is going to acknowledge them and being able to win them over if you're not constantly doing that.
Yeah, there's a top agent in our market here in Colorado that she's absolutely amazing. She kills it every year. And she will never leave where she is. And I believe me, I tried to recruit her back in the day. Jeff, I will not take a breakfast meeting. I will not take a lunch meeting. I will not take a dinner meeting. And I don't do coffee. I don't do any of that stuff. Okay, well, I'm going to still continue to call me. There may be a day. You can call me all you want to, but I'm not. And she never has. So but it's fun to build that relationship. Call it. Hey, I want to mess with her. I want to call her and just try to maybe put a smile on her face today. So
Yeah.
if something by chance, the timing's right, built a relationship, I follow up with her, she will maybe one day say, I want to give that jackass a call.
Yeah, it's so good, right? It goes back to that third thing, the follow-up, just
Yeah.
constantly following up. And if they keep saying no, it's just
Well,
no for now.
how many times has somebody been, they've been talking to this person for years, and next thing you know, you drive by their house and there's somebody else's sign in their yard.
That's right.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a gut
How does
punch.
that feel? You could not pick up you could not be in your car driving through that neighborhood and, oh, so and so lives here. Give them a call or give them a text and say, hey, how's it going? I'm in your hood. I just thought of you. Who doesn't love a text like that or a call?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
everybody.
those special little things that help out.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the follow-up, but it also improving the relationship, little deposits.
Yeah, because they're on your mind. It truly is. If you're coming from a place, you're genuine, you're intentional, you're purposeful with what you're doing, that stuff all counts, and it's not fake. It does not come across as fake. You don't want to be fake. If you're fake, then you need to get into a different line of business. You
Mhm.
need to figure out how to be intentional, purposeful, helpful, contribution, whatever you need to do that will help them be better in their life, because you're changing. In the real estate business, you are changing lives. You're
Mhm.
giving people opportunities to grow in a business to make as much money as they can possibly make.
Mhm.
You're also helping people with probably the largest financial investment they're ever going to make in their lives. So you're out there changing people's lives. You're changing the world, if you want to look at it that way. But come from it from a place of true, I want to help you. How can I help you? Because you're helping yourself when you help them,
Yeah.
and you're growing.
Yeah. I love that. What is, shifting gears to kind of, the current, seat in which you're in. And I love this play, and we're starting to see it more and more. And I think really believe we're going to see even more of it at a much higher level, accelerated level. And we were starting to see it, and you know this, we were starting to see it in 17, 18, 19 timeframe of companies coming together, the M&A side of things, and really the consolidation. And then obviously the brakes got pumped in 20 when every market shifted to a tailwind. And now pretty much every market's back into a dead headwind, is why I believe we're starting to now see the things that were going to happen in 20 and 21 just got delayed 4 or 5 years, but we're starting to see it. And, company that you're with, acquisition companies that we saw, with Redfin earlier in, last year. Zillow's always trying to make acquisitions in place. So within the industry, we're starting to see a ton of it. You kind of on the inside, being able to reach out to these other franchise owners, trying to, bring, from an acquisition, acquire opportunities or merge opportunities together. Like, where are you seeing, people that are really, their ears are perking up, they're leaning into these conversations? What are you starting to see? What are they wanting? And more so, what are they avoiding? What are they moving from? And I know that was a big question, so maybe can unpack that a little bit.
Can you tell me that again? No. What I'm actually seeing is that it's, again, and you're probably, your audience or you may get tired of this, but it's all about the timing.
Mm-hmm.
I called someone not too long ago, and she said, I can't believe you just called me, because I just had a conversation with my trusted leader, staff, whatever it was, that I'm looking to sell. I've had a lot of things happen recently, and I got to I'm done. I'm out. I'm approaching 70 and I'm out. So it's all about the timing and how you come across. Don't waste people's time. That's what I do. I'm straight to the point. I'm not trying to, they know why you're calling. So be refreshing and cut to the chase and get your talk track down so that you can make it sound natural, but you're not wasting their time. You're not wasting your time, because I got more calls to make.
Mm-hmm.
I've even had it said, well, you sound like you don't even care. I do care, but I don't care about, all the fluff. I just want to cut to the chase. You've got business to do. You've got a P&L to make. You've got employees. You got all this stuff. You got all this stuff going through your head. I just want to get to the point. So I think it's just, again, making the phone calls. I don't know, however many phone calls you need to make in a day to make, hit your goals, monetize those calls. If you get an appointment, how much is that worth? If you don't get an appointment, how much is that worth? Monetize everything that you do, and then you can see how successful you are. Play the game. If I make 50 phone calls today, can I get 50 no's? You're not going to get 50 no's. You're going to get a yes somewhere in there. So, but within that, the acquisition side, people are getting hit up. Do you want to be a franchise? Do you want to do this? Do you want that? Well, it makes sense. If it makes sense for you to have a franchise, of course, that's part of the talk track. But also, I don't think very many people are hitting them up about selling their business. Because
Right.
Do they have an exit strategy? Do they have a will for their business? What happens if they step off the curb and a bus hits them? Who's taking over that organization? Is the wife going to have to take over? Who's going to step in and take that company over? If the wife gets hit, she's the one that's making all the money. Does the husband even know what the hell she's doing with that operation? Who knows? You got to have a plan in place to be able to have an exit strategy, no matter what you're doing, a will for your business, whatever you want to call it. So that's how I kind of approach it when I'm talking to different people about what their needs are.
That's so good. I never even framed it that way. I love how you frame that, right? It's like, do you have a will for your life? Maybe not, but you need to get one in place. Do you have
Yep.
a will for your business? No. Well, you need to get that in place. I love how you frame that. That is so that's so good, because anybody immediately their head goes to it. They're like, got it. Because sometimes I'll be talking to people, what's the exit strategy? What does that look like? They're like, what are you talking about? Like, but now if being able to frame it that way, people can connect and make that comparison real quick.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. What are you going to do with your business? I mean, like I said, if you want to work till you're 81, 82, 85, whatever, great. That's what you want to do. But if something were to happen to you, it's an asset. You got to treat it as an asset, and you have to be able to dispose it as an asset.
What are these individuals, business owners, that you get to talk to on a day in and day out basis? I mean, obviously putting the will for their business, the contingency clause in place. What does that look like? But like you said, that from a timing perspective, I'm tired. There's only a handful of you know things that would trigger an exit or a move or a sell or things like that, just like there is in real estate. So is there anything else that as you're talking to these people that they're really looking for, from a consolidation, from a merger
Well,
aspect side of things?
their biggest thing is they don't know how to evaluate their business. They have not a clue on how to value their business. How much is it really worth?
Hmm.
I mean, there's so many different multiples that you could go after. EBITDA. There's so many different ones that you can do. What makes the most sense for them, and it's a win-win for both sides.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing. Let us show you how to value your business, what we're thinking about, and see if it's going to be a fit. If it's not, at least you walk away with some great information. I don't care if you tell me to go kick rocks. That's fine. But you learn something, I learned something, and we walk away.
Yeah.
Or let's move it to the next stage. So there's a lot of wins that could be made out there. It's just learning your craft on how to approach the right individuals at the right time to make an impact on their life.
Is
Because you
that
don't
is that
know, you never know what's going on in somebody's life when you're on the other end of the phone.
Heck no, it's always layers deeper. So what is that typically the top two things that are going to get people to kind of lean in a little bit and have a conversation, is kind of the will for their business and the value of their business?
Yeah, I mean, that's two things. Well, do you have any idea how much your business is worth if you were to monetize your coaching business?
Yeah, no. I mean, you could base it off of revenue. You could base it off
Yeah,
of,
exactly.
and then you're going to deduct, oh wait, the business is dependent upon you, right? You have a personality business.
And if you start growing your business and you have other coaches working underneath you, however you want to, scale your business, how are you going to monetize it? And
Right.
then you're going to sell it. Who's going to buy it? Who does it
Exactly.
fit? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's those little things that you have to get into your head and figure out how to put a dollar value on it and be able to, define it. How am I truly going to be able to justify that dollar amount that I want? I've talked to people, yeah, give me $10 million, I'll sell my business. Well, we know, well, that might be too much. That might not be enough.
Yeah.
There's a way to come back at them and be,
Without insulting them.
yeah, without insulting them, but also make them kind of smile. I always try to do everything with a little, me, I always try to make
A bit of
people laugh
humor.
at some
Yeah.
point, but I want them to feel comfortable. And if you can get a smile on their face, they're more likely going to drop their guard. They'll actually listen to you. They still may tell you to go kick rocks at the very end, but at least they're going to remember you. And because
Yeah.
there may be a day that comes along and that said, hey, I really do need to have a serious conversation because I'm also looking for the future of what I can do to help impact the business. And they may sell it to somebody that's on their staff. Who knows? But anyway, I'm going to try to get into their head that they need me for some reason.
Yeah. I love that. So two things as we wrap up here. One of my, things that, I like, I'll get way fired up about with real estate agents and their business, especially when they get to, kind of in that swamp. They're doing $1 million to $3 million in top line revenue. And they're in that, and they're feeding a lot of other businesses. They're feeding, mortgage, they're feeding title, they're feeding, the inspectors, they're feeding. So, I mean, like they're providing a great, business for other
Yes.
people,
Yes.
yet they're not getting anything in return.
Yes.
What is kind of your take, and at what point should somebody start to think about a percentage of ownership of that particular business, that particular trade? Kind of what's your take on that? And from a timing perspective, like what makes sense?
So again, shorten that down just a little bit for me, because I don't
So,
want to start
so
running.
there's a lot of, so for example, right? Like we'll see so many businesses that are doing 2, 3, 4, 500 transactions that they're feeding, 50, 60% of that to a particular company, particular individual.
But it's
And
not their company.
it's not their company, and they're not getting anything in return.
But why not? Why is that
Exactly.
not their company? Why don't they have a mortgage arm? Why don't they have a title arm? Why don't they have an inspection arm? That's kind of tricky, but you could do it. A staging arm. All these
Contracting, the biggest thing, right? Like, so like
all
us.
the little things that you can feed into and disclose. That's the biggest thing. Disclose the partnership there. Why aren't you doing that? Because do you not understand it? Are you afraid of it? More than likely, they're afraid of it because they don't understand it. They didn't think they could get that big, but they can, because they're leaving so much money on the table.
So much.
Plus, they could probably, as good as they are in that business, hire the right people, understand it, and then let it go and just check in once a month. Be that CEO that is checking on their business every month and holding people accountable and just living a huge life and being able to leave a legacy to their family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And I think it is to that point. It's just, they just don't know. Right.
They don't know.
And it's the whole, right. Fish doesn't know what's above the water until they get out of the water. So being able to have that.
Somebody told me one time too, that when I was getting into the business, someone asked me, how much money do you want to make? I just need a little, I just only need a certain amount because I need to take care of my family and do this and do that, live comfortably. And that person responded, that's probably the most selfish thing I've ever heard of in my life. Why don't you want to make as much money as you possibly can, make that million and be able to give away $1 million, impact lives? Don't be selfish. Make as much stinking money as you can make. And if you invest it, give it away, whatever you're going to do, but impact other people's lives with that money.
Yeah.
Don't be selfish and only need so much to get by. That's crazy.
And, when you get to that level, you're making hires, you're bringing employees, like
you're changing lives. You're providing them, but you're also, if they're willing to be, your people. You've got the B people that just want to sit in that chair and that's all they ever want to do for the rest of their life. You need them. That's fine. Pour into them, whatever. But then you also have your A people that are going to go out there and they're going to kill the world and they're going to pass you. That's fantastic. Ride that ride as long as you can. But you need to know who your people are, what you need them for, provide them a life, and let them live it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the A players, but then you have tools, right? I mean, that's the utility. I mean, sometimes you get a utility tool, but they're still a tool.
They're
designed to do one thing.
There's nothing wrong with that because that's who they are and that's what they want to be. We can't live their lives for them. Why don't you want more? They're not geared that way. And all you're going to do is frustrate yourself.
100%. Last question when we follow up, as we wrap up here, and it is into that third piece of yours that you're always coming back to, right? Timing, relationships, and follow up. And it's the number one thing that I see. I struggle with it. I'm horrible at it. And it's just because I haven't made it, a priority, right? That's why we're always terrible at things, just not making it a priority. But what are some of the, like, when you think about the follow up, what are some systems and some things that work for you? Is it a mindset? Is the intent? Like, how do you, get excited and approach follow-up?
It's because, well, I tell you right now, I'm not the best at it either. It drives me nuts because you get caught up in getting new stuff in the door and you forget about the stuff that's over here that could turn into something. They've already said no, whatever, didn't work out this time, but it may work out later. You got to I try to always plan it. And they said, well, why don't you do follow-up Friday? Well, that sounds all great, but what happens when you follow up with somebody on a Friday? You got Saturday, Sunday that falls in there, and they're off doing other things. I've tried to do my follow-ups on Monday. That way I have the whole stinking week
To
to
stay
be
on
able to stay on them. And they will remember me because now it's part of their business. So I like Mondays as a follow-up day. You're coming in, you're cleaning up from the weekend, you got new emails, you got all this stuff, but also get into your stuff that you need to follow up on and keep it small. You cannot go through your whole system and follow up on 1,000 people.
Right.
Keep it a very small thing that you can do within an hour, hour and a half at most, like a college class, and then be done with it. But you've hit it, it's done, it's over, and then you can follow up on anything else you got to during the week, but then you start all over again with the stuff on Monday.
Yeah. I love that. And I've heard that before. You hit it at the beginning of the week. That gives you the week to stay engaged. You're so spot on, especially in the real estate space. You get into the weekends. I mean, this industry, you work when people aren't working. And that's what I tell people. It's like, listen, like this profession, being a real estate agent, being in like, you work when people aren't working. Like, listen, you worked over the holidays because people weren't working. That's like, you've got to engage. You got to be there. They're not working on the weekends. That's when you're working. And if you don't want that, then don't sign up for this.
Don't do it. Because I tell you, if you're new to the business, you're going to have to spend the next 2 years doing about 80 hours a week to be successful, to build the right kind of business for it to be sustainable and for it to become now organic and start growing from there. If you're not willing to do that, I suggest you go away. Go find something else to do. Go get a 9-to-5er.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And so spot on. Appreciate you jumping on here. And I mean, I love that framework, timing, relationships, and follow up. I think one of the things going into the future, we didn't even get into the AI side of things, but
me and AI had a fist fight this morning. I keep on finding errors, and it drives me absolutely. And I call them out on it because I want them to learn. They're supposed to be intuitive. They learn whatever. And I'm going, how can I ever trust you? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's because you have, in one of the guys that I really lean into about this moving, from AI, really trust him, kind of where he's going with things and the way he looks at it and approaches it. And he's like, listen, it's no longer the knowledge-based era. We're moving in the wisdom kind of era. And you have enough wisdom to be able to question what the machine is telling you. Whereas a lot of people don't. They don't have that ability to critically think through and question things. And that's going to sabotage them. And those that have wisdom like yourself to be able to question and challenge everything, I think will really be able to embrace the way, like you and I were talking about offline, to be able to embrace AI to accelerate you in the things that, you're wanting to accomplish.
I love AI. I work with AI every day. I've embraced it. I love it because I love new things. I get bored. This challenges me. But you also, to your point, you just said critical thinking. You've got to, whatever that spits out, who knows what database they went into and found this crap and to just spit it out. Yeah. How many times did I always put a request in when I ask something? I want you to check your data 3 times before you respond to me. And usually I will get the right answer. This particular one I've been fighting with this morning, I went directly to our source, and it was wrong. It was absolutely wrong after it checked it 4 times. So do not take it at face value ever. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things, maybe it can get it into the red zone for you. But you're going to have to take it across the goal line.
You got it.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. This is fantastic. Love you as well. You guys get connected. Definitely and sometimes in for a hoot. Follow Jeff on social media, kitchens.jeffrey.
And as my mama used to tell me, stay out of the bars.
We finally learned that lesson, right?
I did. All right, man. Take care.
Awesome. Appreciate you. See you. Bye.